eco zoos, ecological zoos, were very just coming into their own. And previous to that, all the animals were just in small barred cages, maybe 10 by 10 by 10, 10 by 15, and all bars. And then you would walk around the zoo, and you'd look at the animals, and they'd look at you. And they never looked so good, because they didn't have such a, I guess you'd call their quality of life not so pleasing. But back in the 70s and late 60s, people had this idea of building an ecological zoo. It wasn't possible really previous to that, but when plexiglass got invented and all kinds of containers could be created, they created these cages that were small environments, maybe a quarter of an acre or an eighth of an acre. And then you'd walk along and you'd look in and you could see the animals walking around and doing their things and climbing on the rocks and jumping in the little pond or the water by the plexiglass wall and all that. And so the zoos became, it became a big thing, to go to an eco zoo, an ecological zoo. Now they're all that way, pretty much. And there was this one zoo in Europe. And their main, I guess the big draw was this very large polar bear. Just a huge polar bear. And it had been kept in this small cage for many, many years. And the only thing the polar bear did in this cage was it would pace. I don't know, I'm sure you've all seen pictures of bears when they walk. They really don't walk like most animals. They kind of roll a little bit. Their body rolls, and their weight shifts. So this bear would take 4 or 5 steps, roll, come back 4 or 5 steps, roll, 4 or 5 steps, back and forth. And his life was eating, doing walking meditation, or sleeping. That was its life for many years. And then they built this ecological cage with stones and some water and some big logs in it for the bear to walk on, and a little area in the middle that was kind of like this little green. And they advertised it in the newspaper that they had built this big cage for Whitey the polar bear or whatever. And they advertised it. And so when they opened this big cage, when they opened the zoo, the big thing was, on February 25th, Whitey the polar bear is going to get his new environment to live in. Please come see him. And so that day, they took a crane and they lifted up his little cage and set it down in the middle of this new ecological area. And then they kind of poked Whitey out of the cage. And as soon as he was out, they lifted the cage up in the crane and took it out. And everybody was there. Maybe several thousand people were there, all anticipating, what's he going to do in this new environment? What's going to happen? And so as soon as he's out, the polar bear stands there for a moment, looks around, and then immediately starts pacing. 1, 2, 3, 4, rolling. 1, 2, 3, 4, rolling. 2, 3, 4. Just as if he was still in the cage. This is very interesting. We live in a cage too. And it's very hard to see the bars of that cage. But they're there. In order to get insight into our nature, we must return to before thinking. Because your thinking makes the cage. Your mind habit creates your prison. So somehow each one of us needs a technique. Return to before thinking. Then we become aware of how that cage works. Then we can begin to investigate, as Lorenzo was saying, the freedom of this moment. Not of our idea of this moment, not of reading a book to get it in the future, not going to analysis to understand how it was in the past. But the freedom to live your life and to be awake is here. And the practice of Zen is waking up to that. And so it requires a return to the simplicity of what is, what's grounded. The gray of the robe, the brown of the casa. The quality of having 25 of us sitting and one speaking. And accepting that so fully as the moment of your existence now that you can accept it just as it is. Fully here, fully awake.